first few days, we focused on making sure that we gain air superiority. It was very important for us, and we achieved it. Our pilots were able to maneuver, and today they can fly over Iran almost. You never know. You always have, threats, but almost they fly completely freely and achieving the goals over the entire country, which Iran it's a huge country. I don't know if you can see the sizes, but you compare it to Israel, it's a long operation, by the way. It takes our pilots 2.5 hours just to fly to reach the destination. They have to perform the task, and 2.5 hours flying back. As you can see also, we don't have any border with Iran. We have no conflict with Iran. No borders conflicts. We don't fight over resources. So the entire conflict is about radical ideology. That when the revolution took place, the Iranians decided that the hate against the U.S. and Israel, that will keep the regime strong. And that's why we are fighting today. Because you ask yourself why Iran actually is thinking about Israel, why they are building those capabilities against Israel. One last point before we move on is the proxies. So Iran decided to build the nuclear capabilities, invest a lot, the ballistic missiles, huge industry, and the proxies. And the proxies, it's important because they invested billions of dollars in actually giving funds to Hezbollah in Lebanon, which we know, and we'll speak about what's happening today in Lebanon, unfortunately, to the Houthis in Yemen, other militias in Syria, in Iraq, Hamas for sure. It's a huge operation. So when I say proxies, it's not somebody you support. It's an industry. I'm sure you will ask, so what's next? So we cannot speak on behalf of the Iranian people, but we want to enable them to take action. And especially after what happened in January. Very hard for them, to take the streets again, but it's important for us to create the conditions that they can do it. We are trying to limit escalation across the region. Iran is doing exactly the opposite. We saw yesterday what happened in the Security Council when the resolution of the JCC passed with the support of 135 member states. But, they, out of desperation, started to attack the Gulf countries, Cyprus, Turkey, and you ask yourself, what is the reasoning behind it? So they want to make it a global conflict, also, disturbing the naval passage at the Strait of Hormuz. Our goal is to minimize civilian casualties, so we target military targets. They're doing exactly the opposite. And you can ask our colleagues from the Gulf countries, if you don't believe me, they're targeting hotels in Dubai, not military bases. They're targeting airports. So for them, they want to see more civilian casualties, and we want to minimize civilian casualties. And it's a challenge for us. Also, we'll talk about Lebanon, but now we are facing another front in Lebanon, and also we see that Hezbollah, they have the capability to target military sites, but they choose to target communities in northern part of Israel. When we speak about the nuclear program, and always you will hear the Iranian representatives saying, no, it's peaceful. So if it's peaceful, why you hide it? Why you actually go into a mountain, spend hundreds of millions to put it underground? Why you enrich uranium to 60%? If it's peaceful, allow inspectors, and many of the countries here use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. It's not the case with Iran. So once we realized that they are fortifying the facilities, we decided to take action. Now, let's assume we wouldn't have decided to attack Iran 2 weeks ago, by the year of 2027, look, they would have achieved the goal of 8,000, more than the number of the US and Russia and China. They would have been number one around in the world by the year of 2027 in the number. I don't go into the quality and the precision, but they don't care about it because they don't target military sites. They can send it to a city. You send it to Dubai, you send it to Manama, to Tel Aviv. It doesn't have to be accurate. You just send the numbers. So this is a crucial piece of information here, because we realize that we have to take action. And as we speak now, the US and Israel, we are targeting that infrastructure of the ballistic missiles. And they have a very massive infrastructure of ballistic missiles. So we don't know what will be the outcome of the operation in terms of the regime, in terms of the people of Iran. But one thing I can guarantee you, that they will not have that capability. We're going to push them back and eliminate that capability, because that's a real threat. From the reports I received and phone calls I held this morning, we see escalation. And when I say escalation, it's basically orders coming from Tehran to Beirut to Hezbollah to escalate the attacks against Israel, which will require us to take actions. So last night, hundreds of rockets flew into Israel at night, not from Iran. Mostly, there were a few from Iran, but most of them came from Lebanon. And in this map, I want to remind you, most of you are familiar with that. There is a resolution of the Security Council, Resolution 1701, which basically says that is the border between the blue line between Israel and Lebanon. The resolution says that between the border and the Litani River, which is right here, this area will be free of any military besides UNIFIL and the Lebanese military. Unfortunately, Hezbollah is still there, and the Lebanese army was not able, despite the declarations they made, to push them away. And today they are using this area to send rockets into Israel. We attack mainly with our Air Force different sites in Lebanon against Hezbollah, and we will not be able to sustain it if Hezbollah will continue to send those rockets into Israel. Now, the reason Hezbollah is attacking Israel today is not to protect Lebanon, not to protect the Lebanese people, because they got clear instructions from Tehran to open fire against Israel. So we have to pay attention to what's happening in Lebanon. There are many countries that try to negotiate, and we will welcome negotiations, but we cannot negotiate while rockets are flying into our northern border. So we will, hopefully, the Lebanese military will be more efficient, will take action against Hezbollah. If they will not do it, we will have to maneuver, we will have to take action and to stop the rockets flying into Israel.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.